Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to RimWorld Survival. So, I've been working on the anti-sapper defenses, and I'm not quite done, but I am soon gonna feel like I can check that off the list. Everything else to come as well. So let's get going. So, we last left off doing a bit of base cleanup. This episode, I think, let's go check our medical tab. I think I would like to do some mining. So I did have a comment. Oh, sorry, I'm not attributing it to you, but the comment was, couldn't I basically build my ship with the structure points along the edge of a mountain like this? Yes, I could, as long as I had all the components combined and everything. Yeah, that would be a valid way to do it. But one thing I can do, it is a little bit more costly, but what I could do is I could put the reactor somewhere very, very safe. Somewhere like right here, let's say, because we have a perfect spot in the core of our base for it. Put the reactor somewhere in the middle of the base, fire up the reactor, and then start to build the ship around it afterwards. Maybe I wouldn't literally put it there. I would probably want to put it somewhere I can protect a little bit better, like out here somewhere. Actually, let me think. I could put it somewhere like here. And that way I can still build it while being covered up and defend it. Because to start the reactor raids, we only need a reactor. We don't actually need anything else. Which is important to, of course, remember. So pretty soon I'm going to actually want to start the reactor raid. Right now I'm filling up my current shell queue. Once I have some more shells, once I have a few more... we have a lot of good weapons. I could definitely go for maybe a charge lance or two, but yeah, once we have a few more weapons and armor, I will feel very safe firing everything up and getting ready for the end game. So if you haven't gone through a reactor raid yet, essentially what happens is for 15 days, for the duration of the reactor raid, once you build the reactor itself, which is this here, you can turn it on. So your reactor raid doesn't start immediately. You do choose when you want to turn it on. And once you turn it on, everybody tries to attack you, basically unrelenting for 15 days straight. And depending on your colony wealth and how long you've been in the game, which I've been here for 348 days, the reactor raid scales to it. Meaning that I'm almost certain to get some nightmarishly huge reactor raids. Meaning that I need sufficient defenses, i.e. uranium select turrets and autocannon turrets. I need to basically be able to protect everywhere. And it's going to be really tough because any damage that incurs to the base is semi-permanent. It's really, really, if roof tiles are removed, I have no way to put the roof tiles back. That's the rule of this whole series. So I've been trying to protect myself from sapper raids. So if you take a look, no sapper's going to come up north, I don't think. We have some sapper defenses here. I would say likely sappers would come through this door because this turret doesn't fully cover that door. I would want... So for the sapper raids, I would want to basically make every place of my base really unattractive, except for where I think is really easy to defend. So right now it looks like the sappers would likely come through this entrance here. And I can set up sandbags in case they do. But of course, this is trial and error. Sappers don't always behave the same way twice. So this time they might come through that area. Next time they may not. Another thing I'm going to do is to, although expensive, put some turrets in these bedrooms and hallways to make this area around here less attractive to sappers because it would be pretty damaging to get someone in the core of the base. Alright. At this moment, aggro is sleeping, so once aggro gets back up, the plan is to probably crank out a whole bunch of regular components. We're also taking all the heal root that I just harvested, and I should probably replant something else. I think cloth, perhaps? Well, we have a lot of cloth. Let's get up on our rice. We have a lot of rice too, but because I'm making lavish meals, I might want some more. I don't know. So checking everyone's health. Aggro, you're at 25%, but you're not restricted. Oh, no, sorry. Whoever you are, we will not be sheltering you. I'm surprised there's no sort of penalty for it, for turning them down. So we need an arm for 11, not super serious because she has, she's got a 1 bionic arm already, so her manipulation's not all that decreased. The reason her manipulation's decreased at all is because of the radiation buildup. Or no, for Tony, sorry, not 11. Acid also needs a hand. So just 2 arms. Okay, that's not that bad. All right. Jane's here can tap out that ground penetrating, that gold node. Might as well just keep hitting that until it's empty. We're starting to get some components back up. So let me take a quick look. Most of this mountain here is unattractive to raiders because of these turrets. I could make them even less attractive if I mined these mountains out flat, like this. But that is a very irradiating thing to do. But I think it actually has some benefit. As strange as that sounds, it doesn't have as many blind spots. Yes, so I think that's what I'll do is mine these out, but I'm going to mine them out from the inside, if I can, and then fill them in with walls. There are some spots where I won't have roof tiles, though. And this could very much be a Jane's or aggro mining task to do. I'm sort of curious. Okay, we still have 257 steel up there. Alright, Mr. Jane's. Set you on limited radiation and get you mining. I want to start you down here. Oh, that is not part of the limited radiation zone. And I'm going to do a ignore roof area. I don't really care if there's roofs here or not. Alright, so that one's done. Now I'm just mining them out from the inside to try to limit the amount of radiation that I'm building up, because there is some limited roof tiles here that I can use. And then the idea is to fill it back, some of it back in with walls, so we're double insulated. But sappers barely care about how thick your walls are. That is not of chief concern to a sapper at all. Alright, so that didn't take too long, and what we'll do is we will allow the construction of this wall here, and some of this as well. And as you can see, Kazumi's already on it. It does require a little bit of irradiation. Oh, medical emergency for Jane's. Time to put him into NORADs. He's been Captain Cancer recently, which is bad because he's mostly bionic, which means the only valid parts of his body that can be cancerous are not parts that we are going to want damaged, because they're not easily replaceable. Sorry, Kazumi, didn't mean to lock you in there. We are going to slowly build this back up too. And as a result, that should be, yeah, it is still part of the limited radiation zone. Hey, hey, build it, build it. And he gets carcinoma, of course he does. Of generally his torso. Alright, well, we've been making meds, so, you know, I was sort of prepared for that eventuality. But, you know, that's alright. Alright, and we're hauling in the rest of the blocks. And that way, these blocks, these chunks, rather, cannot be used for cover. No one can hide behind them, etc., etc. So now, these turrets here have a clear shot all the way to here, and this turret has a clear shot of anything else, so there are no holes. If you picture the turrets as like CCTV cameras, you know, that is your turret. That is effectively your turret coverage as a result. So it's really important to not have a lack of coverage anywhere, because if you have a lack of coverage, it will be attractive to a sapper. So this is all about anti-sapper defense, and the trick here is, of course, I have such a strange, amorphously sized base. You know, I've basically been filling in the mountain here, and it definitely does make it a lot more difficult to protect against. Oof. All right, let's temporarily restrict everybody, because I've been getting everybody radiated here. Oh, God, double irradiation. Arm and a leg, back to back. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. For you, I'm just going to excise... No, not amputate. Let's see. Excise the carcinomas. So all that meds that I just made, I'm about to use. That's a bit of a bummer. I was really hoping that I would be able to keep them for a little bit longer. And then, Janes, you two, I'm going to also excise your torso carcinoma. Alright. Stormy, you're going to be a little busy for a minute. Tony, how much longer on your... Okay, still pretty long. I don't want you to... Yeah, just go cut a block. I don't want her to do these surgeries. She's not as skilled. Alright, well, there goes my nice, comfortable stockpile of meds, but of course, we can make some more. It's not terrible. At least it wasn't radiation damage, which you aren't able to excise. Radiation damage is a lot more permanent as a result. Alright. Well, we're back to making components. We finally caught up to the point where we have some turrets. So the idea here would be to have dead power. Oof, there is no place for dead power here. I'd have to, like, hide it underneath Tony's bed, I guess. For these two turrets. And these turrets make this area. This turret here protects this whole wall, more or less. I do have a little bit of mining to do. Shaving down this this part of the mountain so that we have better protection, better coverage. And as I said before, the turrets don't need to be on, even in their off state. They protect. And as long as this turret has a shot here, where that door is, it wouldn't even matter if it did or not, because this turret exists, I suppose. Looks like Beer's doing pretty good. James is up on his feet. Yeah, most people are up on their feet now. Alright. At this point, I think I want aggro to do some of this shaving down the mountain mining, which should allow us to have better protections. Another thing I want to do is to replace this doorway with marble blocks so that it's repairable. So I wouldn't want that sort of doorway to be destroyed because no one can repair it. So let's get you to replace some components, orbital trade beacons and all. Poppy can recruit real good. That's always such a fine thing to have happen. I'm sort of joking because, of course, it's not helpful at all. Ray here coming in, attacking our outpost. Cool. We're ready for that. Alright, aggro. You have rest needs. Well, they do have some wake up, but you're not too sleepy just yet. I'm going to have you mine out this marble. Once time slows down, I'll know that the turrets have done their job. Yeah, he's pretty far. Alright, there we go. Put him on no rads for now. So let's do a little bit more analysis. I would say that of the entire base here, once this door closes, maybe. Oops, not you, Kazumi. Once this door closes, the most attractive spot to sap into the base is actually this kill box. What's funny about that is we will eventually put a whole lot of turrets in there, so it will never be attractive as a result. So I'm sort of eager, or sort of curious, where sappers might come in. Alright, so let's watch Ray here die. He's not related to anyone. And yeah, he died real far out. And power them down so they don't break down. Alright, checking medical tab. Acid, you are free to be outside. Kazumi and Poppy as well. And Stormy as well. I kept getting, you know, some cancers, so I wanted to make sure that that wasn't a continuing trend. Actually, let's go ahead and make like a ridiculous amount of meds. We'll sort of queue up meds for the end game for the reactor raids. I'll just start to build up my my supply. All right, everywhere else in the base, more or less, is sort of sapper-proof. Now, one thing that I should do, that I've been mentioning, is put some natural chokes around the points of ingress in the... So if you take a look at the mountains here, this, if I wall up a little bit of this here, this is like a natural choke point that people tend to use to attack me. As would this be. So let me start to engineer sort of traps so that I can stop people from easily being able to attack me. And then what I'll do is place, I will place IED traps. Oh, there's one body there. Okay, I'm just going to build around the body. I'll place IED traps so that anyone coming to attack from that point trips traps. That's sort of the idea that I'm going with. So a lot of our defenses here will have to be laid out, like laid out IEDs. But the real advantage of that is someone like Cefalu, who's otherwise a pacifist, could go ahead and do that. So I'm going to have tight choke points. It also will prevent... Like, one of the ideas behind this as well is I have ways of around it, right? I have these tunnels that can get me through these choke points, but the average raider will not have that luxury. And because this area is so mountainous, I can very easily create choke points really everywhere. Alright. I can't really create any functional choke points back here, but I could line... What I could do over here with all the people that like to attack from back is create like a big... It would have to be a rather large wall. Or another way to do it is to follow this around and then create a choke point here or something. I'll have to figure that out. That is, yeah, that is its own challenge, I suppose. But this is part of the anti-sapper defenses. If we can catch these sappers out in the open with IEDs and set them on fire or blow them up or whatever, all the better. Absolutely all the better. All right, Mr. Smelter. I'm going to forbid or turn off the smelter, and then we can start putting the sniper rifles away. That's not where I wanted it. I wanted the sniper rifle here. Alright, let's copy the storage and paste it over. Poor Tony's like, I've moved this sniper rifle 3 times already. Don't keep moving it. Oh, you'll be fine. So I guess at this point it wouldn't really hurt to heat this part of my tunnel. So what I'm going to go do is double wall it and airlock it. Usually at the end of my airlocks, I'll just leave the door open though. But I'll double wall it and airlock it so that we can heat this area with less effort. And then our dining room will then even more extend even further, which will be, I guess, good. All right, so now the question is, yeah, I can remove that, no problem. Oh, I guess I'm still not under. All right, there we go. So now this dining room extends all the way. It's one long, really, really long room here, which allows for people to enjoy dining. Okay, so Kazumi, for instance, is way up here, and she just decided to have a meal up here. So another thing I could do is to prevent that from happening where someone eats without a table, I will add yet another dining option up this way. I've never really built a base like this, but I totally get its utility, is that there's really no place in the base where usually people are, which would have you eat like Kazumi's doing. So here is what I mean. I'll have Kazumi just sort of... No, now Kazumi has to go fetch a new meal, but... And then I'll move this so it's not physically in the way. So now, as you can see, even this stock room up here is now part of the dining room. The impressiveness went down a little bit because it got a little dirtier and, you know, but it's still easily extremely impressive. And now this is a valid eating point. Now these aren't going to be gather spots. I want them gathering around the center, but at least if we're way up here in the crafting room, they can dine up here. And then the workshop is separated as well. Wow, why would I possibly give you refuge when I have to fight that many enemies? That's a big old no thanks. I will hard pass. Alright, looks like we have butchered everything, all the little scarabs, so I'm going to start adding spellopedes to this stockpile, which allows for spellopedes to be stored more closely. And then all the people that are idle and hauling can go ahead and move that. And at this point, I really ought to start investing in slug turrets. So the idea that I had is to just have a bunch of slug turrets basically pointing at this point. Yes, the walls here are going to get totally messed up. I will probably end up double walling them in. But then another thing is I don't want... I need to figure out what the range of a sniper rifle is, because I don't want snipers to stand outside of the entrance. So if, let's say I'm standing here, yeah. So the sniper rifle reaches all the way out to about that sandbag, which means that if I really, really wanted them to be a column of death, I would have to extend my walls out like this a bit, which means that I need to finish drilling out the uranium that's there. Now another thing is, so Kazumi, you've been, yes, Kazumi's been, as you can see, working up here. I need to also make sure that I keep a very close eye on people's radiation buildups, because we're working on the retaining wall traps, which is potentially very, very irradiating. So now that Kazumi's done with that one, let's no-rad her, and I'll just do, yep, no-rad you too. I'm going to do rather constant health checkups to make sure that nobody is getting unhealthy doses of radiation. And then ideally, micromanaging them so when they run the materials out, you don't botch. Ugh. I was going to say, when they run the materials out, oh my god, stop doing this. This is why you get irradiated. Just use those 2 blocks, put them in, and then go for 3 more. Yes, that is how it's supposed to work. Alright, setting you on no rads too. Alright, so who is unrestricted right now? It would be Stormy. And Stormy doesn't really construct. And Aggro, who is currently component crafting. Guess to follow and Tony, you can be unrestricted as well. Tony's construction is actually pretty decent for just making a wall or 2. Where are you going? Oh, you're hauling steel. That is a long haul. Getting that steel. So obviously there's a nice choke point there, and the idea would be to install an ID in that spot. And let's go ahead and put a limited radiation zone over it so that we can actually haul that out. And doing the same one here. And that way when raiders are running in, there's a lot of, you know, however path they take. And often they split up and take multiple paths. Whatever the path they end up taking, they end up getting splashed with an ID. And then once the walls are built, I can take them off. I might have to do some maintenance or rebuild them, but that's a small price to pay considering that I get to explode my enemies, I think. Or set them on fire or whatever. It doesn't snow very often, so fire is actually can be pretty damaging. Alright, so we've gone through all the fine meals. So now it's a pretty good test of how much rice I need. So right now I have 1,500 rice. Because I'm using twice as much rice making lavish meals because I am using the insect meat. I think that's a pretty good use of the insect meat. But I do have to be careful how much rice because I am using double. I could always drop it down to fine meat meals. Because still there is a positive bonus even for fine meals. But it's just a number I'll have to keep an eye on. Oh, electrical faults. Which means my batteries are probably drained out. But I didn't worry because, yeah. Because Most of my base is stone, and there's nothing really to set on fire. So I'm just going to have a brief brownout. In fact, what I'll do is, Janes, would you be so kind as to flick a few of these backup jennies on? And now there's a solar flare. Alright, never mind. Alright, aggro is going to do some outdoor construction. And as is Tony, because they don't really have much else to do. Don't drink your beer. Oh, man. Now is the wrong time to drink beer. Alright, Tony, you are very obviously going to get no-rad restrictions. Aggro you too. Yeah, it is very damaging to be out here. Which is exactly why, some people will say, oh, why don't you build more external construction stuff? It's like, no. I don't think you understand. You get radiated way too quickly. So Stormy and 11 and Sapfalu are the only ones that are really able to go out now. And I might just put Stormy, yeah. And aggro is almost certain to get cancer from a 45%. Okay, yep. I sort of low-key saw that coming. Wow, you are just a big ball of angry right now, Tony. Being the creepy, scary brawler that you are, doesn't make me feel all that comfortable. Alright, solar flare is ending. That's good. Power back. Now, as you can see, the constructors attempt to stand under cover when constructing. So Sapfalu actually did a wonderful job there and didn't get all that irradiated as a result. Why are you moving to the trap? I did not understand that. Oh, you're eating your meals out here? Guys, why are you doing that? And another electrical short. What is going on? Why am I getting electrical shorts? This one was at the outpost. Well, the outpost is pretty fireproof. Not perfectly, but fairly. So that's not going to be that much of a problem. Alright, Mr. Aggro. You, my friend, are going to get carcinoma exorcism. The 18th one. Makes all sorts of sense why I'm, well, okay, my whole, yeah. There's something wrong with the cabling. What happened here? So this got separated out from the grid. Maybe it was always separated out from the grid, actually. I think that's true. That's a bit of a stupid problem to have. When we redesigned this, we killed this spot. Luckily, the double strand has been hardy, but everything else sort of died back. We'll fix that real quick. Alright, Jane's just got a creative inspiration. That would make for an excellent bed, I think. Just so that we sleep less. Which seems silly, but it's actually quite important when you're doing the reactor raids to require the least amount of sleep possible. Alright, so now this farm's back on, the bedroom's back to being warm. Aggro still has a medical emergency, but his radiation's subsiding. Janes is jumping on the chance for a amazing royal bed. I won't slow him down. And another raid, but luckily this raid, again at the outpost. Not something I really have to worry about. Okay, so taking a look at what's going on. I definitely need to start hauling in bugs, because right now we're making a bunch of simple meals. Simple meals use the same amount of rice as a lavish meal would, which is a dreadful inefficient use of the meals. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to lower simple meals down to like do 3, just in case I no, count, Kazumi, count. Use your numbers, just so that I always have one. But I think what I'm going to need to do is to get some healthier people. I don't have anyone that's healthy. Semph, it's going to be you. Get you to haul some spellopedes. So let's go up here and not allow spellopedes. And now we're going to haul them. Oh, we are getting incompetent cook. Crises. Stormy, yeah, you too. Okay, so now they're hauling spellopedes, and then we'll eventually haul the mega spiders. The mega spiders are the most resource dense of the bugs, so I can leave them. All right, recoil. Your name is Recoil, and you use a knife. I guess knives have 0 recoil. Maybe that's why you got your name. You got 1 stab on the turret. Better than some of your predecessors, that's for sure. Alright, it's a legendary bed. It's pretty much what I expected. That's awesome, by the way. Then this royal bed will get handed down. This steel royal bed will get handed down to someone else, and James is going to keep his royal bed. So let's get rid of Tony's regular bed and replace it with a royal. Come on, the raider's dead. You don't need to slow down time. And then this one will be Poppy and Jane's. So here we have Tony's, and that might cheer Tony up a little bit more. I don't know, probably not. But Poppy, let's move this bed. And this is literally the best possible bed that you can have in the game, short of it being maybe like plasteel. But steel has the same rest effectiveness. So the art here is, it's shaped like acid, brutally murdering someone with a long sword with cold efficiency, and acid seems satisfied. The work reminds the viewer of friendship. Okay, that is psychotic. I absolutely love it. So the reason why these beds are so good, rest effectiveness is 168%. Because royal beds have a higher rest effectiveness than non-royal beds, and legendary is the best possible quality. We have an absolutely unbelievable bed here, which also makes the room pretty amazing. And then if we don't have enough beds for surgery, so the surgery success chance of this hospital bed is 135%. Of this one, it's 129%. The surgery success chance of this bed is 130%, just because it's so nice. Which means that if we need to do some emergency surgeries and our beds are full up, this royal bed is a really good alternative, I suppose. Part of me thinks that Agro and Kazumi deserves the royal bed over Tony. So sorry, Tony. I apologize. 2 people really ought to outrank 1 person in a bed. But you'll still have a double bed. A reminder of the relationship you lost, I suppose. I know. Sad. I shouldn't have said it like that. Alright, Agro Kazumi. Only because this way, the rest effectiveness of this bed is 120%. And that's 2 people at 120% rather than Tony at 114. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Alright, so now we have plenty of meat for our fine meals, or lavish meals, rather. Mr. James. I think what I'm going to do is add a no-rad zone here, flick this off, and have you go up to the deep drill. Because as long as you stand right there, you're not going to get all that irradiated. So I also really want to mine out all the uranium there so I can better design the kill box. Now, it's almost unfortunate that there's the geothermal generator here. A part of me almost wants to ignore the fact that the geothermal generator's there and turn this into a more effective kill box. Because if I remove this geothermal generator, I would just create a wall here. This would be one giant opening of a lot of... Yeah, I honestly should do that. That is the wise choice. I don't know if there's... Yeah, there's really no other geothermal generators that are viable sources of power. But because I have all the chem fuel that I have, I could always rely on, you know, I don't really need geothermal, is I guess what I'm trying to say. I think my traps of choice are probably going to be, well, a mix. But I want to build some additional incendiaries. So I'm going to build 5 incendiaries and 5 regulars. I'm just putting them here because we're close to the shells. I'll eventually pull them up. It's just easier. And aggro, you are going to construct for... Oh, no, you really, 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 really want a smith? That's fine. Cephalo can make some of these. The pacifist making IEDs, the irony is not lost on me. And then I'm going to quickly uninstall them as soon as they're made so that they don't end up blowing anyone up. Now, our own characters are designed to try to avoid walking on them if possible. But it's entirely possible to design a base where that's impossible to do. And now the idea would be to, let's move these shelves out here and keep some more shells on them. Alright, aggro, or Janes rather, let's put you on no rads, on limited, so that you don't keep taking a very weird path out that way. Alright, clear importance, and then we want buildings, security. We'll just put regular ID traps on these. Aggro is remaking the shells that I lost. I also could make a bionic arm. Well, he's about to go to sleep. You know what? I'm going to make you work. Yes. We have a little bit need of additional bionic parts. I'd like to get everyone fully healthy, which means no destroyed fingers or whatever. And maybe even a nice healthy stockpile of advanced components so I can make bionics on demand so that when we go into the reactor raids, you know, permanent injuries don't hamper us forever. So taking a look at these external areas, I would say I probably need a wall there. And all these other spots I'm just removing. No longer need to ever move to where these are. So it's just that wall. And then I need to put down a incendiary ID down there. And in fact, I could even choke point this tunnel on a different spot to have, and that wouldn't even cost me, yeah, let's hold that. That wouldn't even cost me that much radiation. Put another choke point here, and another choke point there. That is a lot of potential bombing. I almost feel bad for what these raiders are going to have to face. Hellfire is what they'll have to face. Oh, I didn't mean for Janes to be out here doing this, though. Janes, I'm going to take you really low on the totem pole of construction so that you don't want to harm yourself in that way. I've been getting a lot of radiation recently, so I think I should be a lot better about. Lavish meals. Or fine meals, let's suspend. Alright, so we got one bionic arm. That was pretty quick. He's hopped up on wake up, so I guess that makes sense. Tony, because you are so sad, we are going to give this one to you. You did lose a lot of your arms and whatever defending the colony, so you're also a hero. Another reason to give that to you. Caravan request. A bunch of EMP shells for a ton of Resmec serum. Okay, guess I'm making EMP shells. Wow, I've never had such a glorious request like that. So, 70 EMP shells. That's fine. I am okay with that as a top priority. Let's do until I have 70 shells. Take to temp crafting and make with aggro. That's going to be an expensive fulfillment, but given the benefit of having the ability to resurrect 3 people, that makes the reactor raids a lot less scary to me. I have no idea how I lucked out so hard in getting such a quest. Pretty awesome. Very awesome. Alright, so Tony is now more bionic than she was before. Good for her, I suppose. I'm going to quickly run out of components, so then I'm going to crank this component craft queue up a little bit higher. It's also possible that someone like Jane's could dig around this mountain and find compacted machinery. There is some over here, but that's pretty far away from the base. Hard to get to. There's some here as well, but again, the amount of radiation that will build up getting there is pretty damaging. Alright, Symph. Oh, neither of you construct. You're just hauling that stuff out there for funsies? You guys are mad. No, well, we're already up to like 13 of the MP shells we require. And now, I do believe that we are out of components, so we're making the explosive ones, which is fine. I'll have them back on component crafting any second now. So I would say, despite the lavish... Yeah, I would say the lavish meals have been... Well, we'll see after this harvest if our rice levels are going down or not. I think it's too soon to say. Alright, so those are all the explosives, and now for some incendiaries. And I am just about out of time. Let me just finish off this project down here. And then I can call this episode to a close. I don't even need the full project, just the retaining wall itself. Oh, why did you drop that? Don't fail. Oh my god, it's like I predicted it. Well, I don't actually need it there, so let's just haul this back. Alright, so that is the ability to add in a whole lot of additional incendiary IEDs. That was the hope there. Alright, so this explosive trap, I'm just going to remove all these traps back here. I no longer need to store them where they used to be. And we'll start to install them out here. And then out here, let's remove this. We want a trap here, and a trap here. Alright guys, well that's all the time I have. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you understand all the prep I'm undertaking so that I can possibly survive the reactor raids. Because I'm not really able to use a traditional footprint for a base, the reactor raids are definitely going to be a lot more challenging this time around than in previous series. And if you have any tips, tricks, feedback for me, always drop me a line. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Adios.